Hello everybody, my name is Michael, and in today's video what we're going to be doing is this right here. So if that looks exciting to you guys, please carry on and watch the video. Oh, and just one more thing before we go. Please consider like, commenting, and subscribing if you enjoyed the video. But now with all that out of the way, let's carry on with the video. Okay, so starting off with our night hag that we've got here, I'm going to be starting off with some grimoire purple, which is a nice sort of desaturated purple, so it's going to be great for the base colour of her skin tone that we're going to be using it for here. So night hags have a nice sort of deep purplish slash bluey skin tone, so I'm going to lean more into that purple side, and grimoire purple is going to be great for that. So we'll be giving a nice good overall coverage to her skin here. And don't forget about a little horns on the side of her head too. It can be a little bit hard to see with the hair sculpted into the miniature. Then once we have all of the night hag skin painted up, we're going to come in with some ivory now, and this is going to be used to pick out those nice sculpted in eyes that we've got here. So we want to make sure we get a nice thin brush to do this and really get in there. And we're doing it now, so we've got less chances of mucking up a big lot of the paint job later on. As well as that, I'm also going to be picking out those nice bright shiny teeth, and she's got that nice grinning smile as well. So picking all those out with the ivory. Then once we have those eyes and the teeth picked out, we're coming in with some farezress purple now. And this is going to be used as a first highlight of our skin tone here. So we want to be aiming things for the tops of the knuckles on her fingers, the top of her nose, her eyebrows, the very tips of her fingers, places like that where that's going to really pick out. It's going to be a little bit hard to see on camera with the two purples being very similar, but it is actually a lot lighter purple. So don't forget to go over in a couple of coats if you need to really help punch up that purple color a little bit more. Then once we have those highlights in, we're going to come in now with some crusted saw, which is a deep burgundy sort of red color, and we're going to be using this as a majority color for our miniature, and that's going to be her nice overall color of her dress that she's wearing everywhere. Now this dress has a lot of nice folds and wrinkles and waves in it, so spend a little bit of time here, really make sure you get into every little nook and cranny onto the miniature, because there is a lot. And don't forget to give it a couple of coats, because as you can see it's quite thin, the crusted saw I'm going to be here, so I'm going to use at least 2 thin coats to really get a nice smooth color over that whole dress that she's wearing. Then once we have that crusted saw down, I'm going to come in now with some black grey, so a nice darkish black grey colour, and we're going to be using that for the colour of her hair, since they have very dark coloured hair. This is totally up to you. If you want to go with a crazy colour, go right ahead, but I'm going to be copying pretty much the official artwork for this, and that's the way I'm going to be painting it up. So they have very dark black slash bluey type hair. I'm going to add in hopefully a little bit of a blue effect later on. Then once we have that base coat of her hair picked out, we're going to come in now with some basalt grey, which is a nice lighter grey, but still very similar to our last colour we used. And I'm going to be using this to highlight her hair. So we've got these nice big sculpted in chunks of hair that we want. So I'm coming in with the side of my brush here and really stroking it nice and evenly across there. So it gives a nice highlight to all those areas. And it's just a matter of spending some time really going around and picking out the nice sculpted details and really getting at least sort of one nice clean stroke along each part of the hair that's closest to the sun. Then once we have those strands of hair all painted up, we're going to come in now with our first wash, and this is going to be druchii violet to our nice skin tone that we've got here. So before we start adding in a bit more detail with our skin and the nice decoration she has on here, I want to apply the wash, so we're not going to interfere too much and hopefully avoid as much spilling over onto those areas where we don't want it to. So that's why I'm coming in with our wash now, and it's just a matter of coming in, giving a good overall coat, and it's really going to help give that nice purple color to everywhere on the miniature of her skin. Then once that wash is completely dry, we're going to come in now with some drakenhof and nightshade, and this is what I mean by I want to give a little bit of a bluish tint to her hair, and the drakenhof nightshade is going to hopefully do that once it's all dry. And since we've got those nice highlights all picked out as well, it's going to really help show off a dark and a light area too with this. So it's hopefully going to give 2 effects off one by just adding in this wash after the highlight. So hopefully it'll turn out the way I want it to. And there we are. Now we have that nice bluish tint to her hair. We're going to come in now with some hydra turquoise, and this is going to be for that nice bit of visual striking piece she has on the front of her dress here. Now this hydra turquoise looks a lot more like blue than an actual turquoise like it does in real life, so I'm sorry about that, but I'll tell you what, it's a little bit more bluey green than it's showing off as a bright baby blue like it seems to be on camera. So it's a little bit different there, but a turquoise or, as you can see, a blue would be quite nice here as well. So whatever colour you think is going to be a nice eye-catching pop-out piece for this part of the miniature. Then once we have that part of the miniature complete, what we're going to be doing now is coming in with some carroburg crimson, and this is of course a nice red wash, and we want to be applying that to our area where we applied the crusted sword, which of course is the main part of her dress. So we're going to be going in with a nice red here. Now you could go with a black or a brown wash here, but I didn't want to sort of make it look like she was in harsh shadow or dirty her up as if we used the brown wash. I wanted to keep her nice and clean with her colours, so that's why I'm going with the red wash here rather than a brown or a black. Then once our carroburg crimson is completely dried up, we're going to come on now with some skeleton bone, and as the name suggests, we want to be applying this to any bone we see on the miniature. Nice and simple here. I like to keep my colours nice and complicated, so using skeleton bone on bone is a no-brainer sort of situation. So just going around, giving it a nice overall coat, being very careful not to get it anywhere that we don't want it to, especially since we applied a lot of those washes. So all about your brush control here. Now that we've got those bones picked out, we're going to come in now with some orange brown, and this is going to be used for the rope slash string that she has tied to all these bones around her waist. So a nice visual color here with the orange brown, rather than coming in with say like hemp rope, which is a more yellow brown like I got in here. I want to have a bit more of a contrasting color, and orange is going to help out with that. Now that we have all that rope picked out, you can see we've got quite a nice standout piece. We're going to come in with some greedy gold to really help sell the effect that she is a night hag from the area of corruption and making deals, and she's gotten a lot of winning prizes from her, and this is going to be shown with the nice decorated jewelry and gold, since she makes quite nasty deals and contracts and things like that. And coming in with greedy gold, a nice deep gold for that, it's going to really help add in a lot more color to the piece overall. Now that we have those nice bits of jewelry picked out, we can move on to some more shading. I'm going to come in with some drakenhof nightshade for this, and I'm going to be using this over our area. We use that turquoise, which seems to be completely blue, so I'm going to lean into that blue a little bit more than the turquoise color, and coming in with a blue wash. This is again totally up to you. You could go with a green here and make the turquoise a bit more green leading. For me and for the camera here, I'm just going to go with the blue. Then once that wash is dry, we're going to come in now with some seraphim sepia, and we're going to be using this for our bones that we have here, giving them a nice sepia wash here, really make them look like bones once we've got that wash on there. Applied all those. Now she does have quite a lot on here, so don't be afraid to really get over those areas. I'm also going to be giving it just a quick little wash over the rope that she has around her as well, sort of tie them in together, and just being careful that we don't have that wash drip anywhere we don't want it to. Then once we have all that sepia wash nice and dried up, we're going to come in now with some reikland fleshshade. Now you can use any type of flesh wash for this. Reikland fleshshade was the closest one I had on hand, so that's what I'm going to be using. And I'm going to be using this not for the actual flesh or a skin tone here. I'm going to be using it for the gold. I find that giving a nice flesh wash slash reikland fleshshade here, giving it a wash over gold, it really sort of warms it up and really gives it that nice deep gold look. Then once all that wash on the gold is done, we're going to come back in with our skeleton bone now, and we're going to be using that for just the highlights on all of the bones we've got here, being really nice and deliberate with them, really trying to get those areas where the sun is naturally hitting. So that's the top of the skulls where that sun's going to be nice and bouncing off, and also getting in those little ridges on the eyebrows, and since we've got a nice spine in front of us too, those nice little notches in the spine that are facing out towards the sun, we want to be picking those out as well. Then once we have that complete, we're going to come in now with some bright gold. This is a nice bright shining gold. You could use greedy gold again on top of this, but I want to have it nice and shining in that sunlight, really catch the reflection off the sun, and bright gold is going to be great for this. And it's just a matter of going into those areas where the sun will naturally be, so go in those nice raised areas and any sort of points of curves and stuff like that to really help sell the effect that this gold is nice and shining. Then once we have that gold all picked out, we're going to come back in with some hydra turquoise now, or baby blue as it seems to be on the camera. And we're going to be using this to just pick out the edge of the piece, as well as the edge of the piece. I'm also talking about the sort of inside of the pattern design we've got here. I'm just going to be painting the sort of insides and the edges there to really help emphasize that pattern on there, so you can see a little bit more when it's away further from you on the table. Then once we have that pattern picked out, we're going to come back in with our crusted saw here, and of course we're going to be using it for our highlighting. So this miniature has a lot of raised areas and folds on our dress that we have here, very nice. So there's a lot of areas to really come in and pick out with the highlights. Don't be afraid to use a couple of layers here. If you want to lighten the color up, by all means add a little bit of ivory or white to the mixture to really brighten it up. But if you want to keep it with the original carroburg crimson color, make it look a little bit more natural and tied in. It's totally up to you what you want to do here. I've just gone with just our straight crusted saw here to really give that punch and make it look like it's a natural transition. And then once we've done that, I want to come in with one little effect here, and that's coming in with some jungle green, which is a nice bright, nearly fluorescent sort of green. I'm going to come here and just dab it into the eyes of the skull that I've got here. Now I've just dotted a bit of ivory beforehand. As well as that, I'm also going to be picking out the eyes as well. Now I have watered this down quite a lot to almost wash sort of consistency, so it's very, very thin, and I'm just having it as a slight green tinge. So I just wanted to make it like she's casting a magical spell, and hopefully that'll come across in the final images. And with all that complete, we have finally finished painting up our Night Hag from the Dungeons & Dragons range by Wizkids. So I hope this video has been helpful for you guys, whether you want to follow along and did what I did here, or you just want to use this video for some inspiration in your own miniatures. So with all that said guys, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video.